When I was born, my mother died in childbirth because of me. I wouldn't cry, only laugh. At 1 year old, I had a fever of 40 degrees. My eldest brother cried and called an ambulance, but I still looked at him and laughed. At 3 years old, I was scalded by boiling water. When my second brother ran cold water over me, I still stared at him and laughed. At 4 years old, my third brother had an epileptic seizure and fell to the ground. I wanted to call for help, but only laughter came out. My fourth brother died of suffocation because of me. Later, my dad and brothers sent me to a mental hospital. After that, I only had 5 days to live. Later, much later, I never laughed again, but my dad and brothers cried. Sister Sophia rubbed my face and said softly, "Baby, your dad and brothers are coming to see you today. Baby, your dad and brothers are coming to see you today." I smiled and nodded heavily at her. Sister Sophia had a smile on her face, but I knew it wasn't a happy one. Last night, I overheard Dr. Miles and Sister Sophia talking. They said I only had 5 days left. I don't know what they meant. Brothers and sisters in the hospital disappear every day. Sister Sophia said some are taken away by their families, and some become stars in the sky. I know about stars in the sky. My mother became a star in the sky when I was born. Sister Sophia looked very sad. I was sad too, and wanted to comfort her, but when I opened my mouth I laughed. I know I'm different from other children. When other children are crying, I'm the only one laughing. They all look at me with monster eyes. My dad and brothers look at me that way too. Whenever I panic and want to explain, I laugh even harder. Sister Sophia hugs me and says my dad and brothers will love me. Will they? Like other children that love me? I hugged Sister Sophia's arm and asked her with a smile. Yes, they will. I leaned on the window, waiting for my dad and them to arrive. Like waiting for Sister Sophia to give me a delicious candy. But until the stars and moon appeared in the sky, they didn't come. I leaned on the window, looked at the stars and laughed. I like the night because my mom is a star in the sky, and I can only see her at night. The stars twinkle, as if my mom is lulling me to sleep. Unconsciously, I fell asleep. In my dream, I lived happily with my dad and them like other children. The next day, I was still leaning on the window, until it was almost dark, that I saw familiar figures. It's Dad. Dad and my brothers are here to pick me up. I happily waved to them, but they looked at me without any expression. Sister Sophia took my hand and walked towards them. But I noticed the sign behind Dad was loose and swaying. I was anxious to remind them, but I let out a burst of laughter. I saw Dad's footsteps stop, and then the sign hit him on the head. I wanted to run to his side, but the laughter couldn't be stopped. Scarlet blood slipped down Dad's face, and the look in his eyes became even more disgusted. Later, Dad was sent to the hospital, and my brothers glared at me fiercely. I knew they hated me even more. Ava, Dad's hurt, and you're still laughing. Noah looked at me, his eyes cold and mixed with disgust. Monster. Liam and Owen also looked at me with disgust. In their eyes, I was like a monster who had invaded the earth and was very ugly. I opened my mouth to say something, but the laughter grew louder and louder. My brothers didn't want to go home with me. They called a car themselves. Uncle James took me home. I sat in the back seat, laughing nonstop. Back home my laughter still couldn't stop. I didn't know how Dad was, but the more anxious I was, the louder I laughed. I stood at the gate and knocked for a long time. No one opened the door for me. My stomach was growling with hunger. I could only lean against the door and keep laughing. Until the stars reappeared in the sky, I couldn't help but fall backwards, and finally was caught by a pair of warm, rough hands. Little miss. It was Sister Grace. She was like an angel. When Sister Grace brought me into the house, I noticed my brothers were surrounding another little girl. It's all because of her that Dad is in the hospital. Monster, don't live with us. Liam and Owen looked at me with disgust, and even picked up toys and threw them at me. The toys hit me and it hurt so much, I couldn't help but laugh. Brother, I'm scared. The little girl in the room hid behind Noah after seeing me. Get out, you're not welcome here. It seems I don't have a home anymore. Sister Grace looked at us awkwardly. Finally, I picked up the toys and sat down at the door with a smile. I leaned against the door looking at the stars in the sky, hungry and sleepy. Mom, I don't seem to have a home. Laughing and laughing, I fell asleep. Vaguely, I heard the sound of footsteps in the distance. Dad walked over, he looked at me, his footsteps paused. Ava, why are you sitting at the door? Thinking of the scene where Dad was hit by the sign today, I looked at him worriedly, but unconsciously laughed. I watched the concern on Dad's face disappear, and then reveal a hint of disgust. Finally, he shook his head and sighed. Your mother was such a good person. How could she give birth to a daughter like you? Ava, you are such a monster. Seeing Dad's disappointed look, I lowered my head, sad and wanted to take his hand. Harsh laughter echoed at the door. Dad shook my hand away forcefully. I stood behind Dad, laughing, and followed him into the house. I trotted, wanting to go back to my room to sleep. But Dad grabbed me. That's Zoe's room now. Zoe is already asleep. Don't disturb her. You sleep here. I stopped smiling and paused, looking at my room. Finally, I followed Dad into the storage room. The storage room was empty, with only a pile of cardboard boxes. Dad's expression froze slightly, but I smiled and ran to stack the boxes together and lay down on them. Heartless. Dad slammed the door and left. My laughter continued for a long time before it stopped. The storage room isn't so bad. I can see the stars. In the early morning, there was a lot of noise outside. I hid in the storage room and peeked out, seeing Zoe making a face at me. I smiled at her, and she immediately hid behind my brothers. Ava, you monster, stay away from my sister. Owen noticed my movement and glared at me fiercely. My laughter grew louder, and I hid back in the room. I didn't come out until the house was quiet. There were some cold leftovers on the table. I was so hungry that I started eating right away. Little miss, let me make you something else. Grace tried to stop me when she saw me eating. I shook my head, not wanting to trouble Grace. I was already happy to be able to fill my stomach. Looking at the food in front of me, I thought if I could make the food my mother used to make when she was alive, Dad and my brothers would definitely like it. After finishing my meal, I took Grace's hand. Make food for Dad. I pointed to myself and then to the kitchen in the distance. Grace had a troubled expression on her face. Dad hates me. Make food for Dad. I spoke with difficulty, one word at a time. Grace finally agreed to my request. Thank you, sis. Did. I struggled to cut the potatoes, and Grace watched me cautiously. Before long, I had made a mess of the kitchen. At that moment, the door opened. Dad came in carrying a mattress. His face immediately turned cold when he saw me, and he threw the mattress on the ground. Ava. Mr. Hayes, little miss. Shut up. Don't defend her. Dad looked at me with the same monster-like expression. I lowered my head, but I couldn't suppress my laughter. Grace wanted to say something, but I took her hand and shook it gently. Dad locked me in the storage room. Grace, like Sophia, would bring food to my room. Dad didn't allow me to come out. At dinner, I looked through the crack in the door at my brothers and sister. I wanted to eat with my family too. But everyone disliked me. I heard them praise Zoe for doing well, and being rewarded with a little red flower by her teacher. If I also got a little red flower, would everyone like me? I waited expectantly for the next day to arrive. Early in the morning, I packed up the cardboard boxes I had been sleeping on, and obediently finished the food Grace brought me. When my brothers and Zoe were about to leave, I followed them, keeping my distance. Monster, go back to your room. Owen looked at me angrily. Zoe hid behind him. Go to school, I said to Uncle James with difficulty. Uncle James called Dad, and then agreed to let me go to school. Stay away from us and don't say you know us at school. I smiled, clutched the hem of my clothes, and took half a step back, keeping my distance. After getting in the car, my brothers didn't want to sit next to me. Zoe took the initiative to sit next to me. Ava, I heard that you were laughing when your mom died. Is it true? Zoe asked curiously. Thinking of Mom, I felt sad, but I couldn't help but laugh. My brothers glared at me. Mom was killed by you. If you hadn't been born, Mom wouldn't have died. Liam's curses made me even sadder. I wanted to explain, but the laughter was too loud. My brothers kicked me out of the car, but thinking that if I could get a little red flower, everyone would like me. I still walked towards the kindergarten. I gasped for breath, feeling so tired. Finally, Uncle James found me and sent me in. I was very lucky. The teacher asked a question that Sophia had told me about. I immediately raised my hand, already picturing myself getting a little red flower after answering the question. But just as I stood up, I couldn't help but laugh because I was nervous. Amidst the laughter of the other students, the teacher's patience gradually disappeared. Finally, she told me to stand outside the classroom. I stood outside the classroom and laughed loudly. I seemed to have messed things up again. But the sadder I was, the louder my laughter became. Before Uncle James picked me up, I heard others talking about Noah's birthday today. If I could buy Noah a gift today, would Noah like me? I didn't know. I secretly took out the money I had saved. It was given to me by Sophia at the mental hospital, because I behaved well. Sophia said that once I saved enough, I could buy Mom's favorite teddy bear. This was my own little red flower. I lay by the window, waiting for my brothers to come home from school. Just as I was about to fall asleep, I heard footsteps outside. I immediately ran out and tried to hand the money to Noah in a flattering manner. Noah would definitely like me, right? Where did you get the money? Noah's eyes were full of disgust. Save. I desperately wanted to make a sound. This looks like my money. Zoe quickly ran back to her room, and then eagerly snatched the money away. Ava, why did you steal my money? If you need money, you can ask me directly. Why did you have to steal it? I opened my mouth to explain, but Noah pushed me away. Thief, stay away from me. They shoved me back into the storage room. From today on, you're not allowed to come out. If you do, I'll hit you every time. Owen glared at me, but I just looked at them and laughed out loud. When Dad came home in the evening, he asked me about what happened, and I anxiously wanted to explain. But only a hideous laughter came out. Dad put a chain on the storage room. I hate my laughter so much. I don't know why, but I feel so tired, so very tired. My body is also heavy, as if filled with water. Just like when I was 1 year old. My head is also heavy. When I woke up on top of the cardboard boxes, I tried to push open the door of the storage room. The chain just jammed the door, and I couldn't squeeze through. In front of the room's door, there was an envelope. I don't know who left it there. Is it for me? I don't dare to move. I'm afraid it belongs to someone else and they'll hit me. I leaned against the door, feeling like I couldn't muster any strength. I feel like I don't even have the strength to laugh anymore. Dr. Miles and Sister Sophia said I have 5 days left. I wanted to count them out on my fingers. But I don't have the strength. I stared at my hand, counting many times. It seems. Today is the 5th day. Will I become like the other older brothers and sisters in the ward, turning into a star in the sky? When I heard footsteps, I looked through the crack in the door. My brothers and Zoe were happily returning from school. Seemingly noticing the envelope in front of me, Noah picked it up. Mom's letter. Is it a letter written to me by Mom, who has become a star? Is Mom coming to take me away? The brothers passed the envelope back and forth. I looked at them expectantly, their gazes sweeping back and forth between the envelope and me. Don't look, Mom said she hates you the most. It's all because of you that Mom died. You don't think Mom would like you, do you? Listening to their words, I felt the original expectation gradually disappear. This isn't an envelope from Mom, coming to take me away. So even Mom hates me. If it weren't for me, Mom wouldn't have died. She must hate me. I leaned against the door and unknowingly started to laugh. The brothers tore the envelope into pieces, then looked at me with hateful eyes. I secretly picked up the pieces of paper from the ground and leaned against the door. In a daze, I heard my brothers and Zoe talking happily. Mom hates me. Then when I become a star in the sky, I'll stay far, far away from Mom. I'll watch her from afar. That way Mom won't hate me, right? In the painting that Sister Sophia drew, the stars in the sky are all smiling. When I become a star, will the other stars like me? The fragments gathered in my hands scattered like stars on the ground. I probably don't have to laugh anymore. And no one will hate me anymore. Sister Sophia lied to me. She said that after people die, they turn into stars. But I didn't. Thinking of this, I quickly shook my head. I remembered what Sister Sophia said. When a baby is born, The baby cries. Mom and Dad are smiling. On the day we grow up and become stars. Only we are smiling, and everyone else is crying. And our mom and dad will take us home. Sister Sophia definitely didn't lie to me. I didn't become a star. It must be because I was laughing when I was born. And I haven't grown up. Just like my brother said. Because of me. That's why Mom became a star. So it's normal that Mom hates me and doesn't come to pick me up. I looked at myself leaning against the door. This is the first time I've faced myself. I'm not laughing anymore now. I wonder if Dad and my brothers will still hate me when they see me. I poked my little cheek with my hand. My finger quickly passed through my body. I pulled my little hand back. It's a pity that I can't speak now that I'm lying on the ground. Otherwise, we could definitely become good friends. I don't have any friends. Everyone thinks I'm a monster. I looked at the toy that my brothers had thrown at me, still clutched in my hand. Although the toy hurt when it hit me. But this is the first gift my brothers have ever given me. On the ground are the letters Mom wrote to me. Even if Mom doesn't like me. This can be considered a gift from Mom, right? What does Mom look like? I've never seen Mom. What should I do if I meet Mom and don't recognize her, making her angry? I touched the letter. I felt my nose tingle. It felt like something was flowing out of my eyes. I touched the corner of my mouth. It didn't curl up like it used to. I've become just like the other kids. I want to tell Sophia about this. I stood at the front door. The small world I used to know suddenly felt so big. So big that I didn't know where to find her. I kind of miss Sophia. Is Sophia still as busy as before? If I could become a star, then I could secretly watch over her and bless her. I could even pick her up one day, just like she used to pick me up. I promised that once I grew up and earned money, I'd buy Sophia a gift. But now I can't grow up anymore. My promise to Sophia. I've broken it. If Sophia finds out I lied to her, will she hate me? The door I could never pass through before. I walked through it easily. I watched my brothers and Zoe happily eating at the table. I want to eat with my brothers too. I sat on the empty chair. Even though the table in front of me was empty. I was happy. Because now I could sit and eat with my family like the other kids. Only there wasn't a plate in front of me. I watched my brothers put delicious food into Zoe's bowl, full of envy. Now that I'm like a normal person. Will my brothers still dislike me? I tried to secretly eat the shrimp no appealed for Zoe. But my hand went straight through the table. I couldn't eat anything. After fulfilling my wish of eating with my family, I returned to my own room. I heard this room was prepared by Mom before I was born. She bought lots of toys for me in advance. But now Dad and my brothers have given the room to Zoe. The locked door meant nothing to me. I passed right through it. The room looked completely different. All the toys Mom left for me were gone. Even the light blue wallpaper I liked had been replaced with pink. There was nothing in this house that belonged to me anymore. My brothers and Zoe were still happily eating. I returned to the storage room. I looked at myself leaning alone against the door. I wanted to keep myself company. I'm Ava. What? What's your name? I greeted myself. But she didn't answer me. At night, Dad rushed in through the door. Sophia followed behind him. But just like the day she sent me away. She didn't look happy. I walked to her and greeted her. She couldn't hear me. I wanted to tell her I can't smile anymore. Sophia once said that when people who know each other meet, they should be happy. I tried hard to force a smile. But I realized I no longer knew how. Where's Ava? Dad's voice was anxious, just like when I was little, and he urged me to eat. It's been so long since I've eaten with Dad. Where else could she be? She's obviously in her room. Noah responded casually. I watched Dad run toward the storage room. I followed behind him. Sophia, who always smiled, was crying. It was my first time seeing her cry. When she was with me, she always smiled. When I smiled, she smiled too. With Sophia, I didn't feel like a monster. Dad stared at me leaning motionless against the door. His body trembled uncontrollably. His steps faltered as he asked in a shaking voice. Ava. Is she asleep? So Dad, just like me, also couldn't speak clearly sometimes. He hurriedly unlocked the chain. My body fell forward as soon as the door opened. Sophia quickly caught me. I watched her kneel on the ground, holding me and crying painfully. She held me tight, her tears falling on me. I don't want Sophia to cry. If I could get up right now and smile at her, she wouldn't cry, right? I had so many things I wanted to tell her. I wanted to tell Sophia that I might not keep my promise. If only I were smarter. Then I could write. I could leave Sophia a letter, just like the one Mom left for me. She was never mentally ill. She was such an obedient child. And she was never a monster. Sophia's voice trembled as she held me. Dad froze in place. He looked at the neatly folded boxes in the room. I saw his eyes turn red. Back in the psychiatric ward, so Sophia wouldn't have to work so hard. I cleaned my room every day until it was spotless. But I was always clumsy and caused trouble for her. Yet Sophia never scolded me. She always taught me patiently. Even though I could never do things right, her room was always kept clean and tidy every day. She just obediently waited by the window, hoping you would come and see her. She said that when she grew up and had money, she would buy me a gift. Dad looked at the scattered star-shaped paper hearts, knelt on the ground, and carefully tried to piece the letters back together. Dad loved Mom the most. So after I killed Mom, Dad must hate me a lot. I heard that children who are not loved by their parents are thrown in the trash, waiting for parents who want children to pick them up and take them home. Dad didn't throw me in the trash. I'm already very grateful to Dad. It's a pity I can't even cook one meal for Dad. Dad's fingers trembled as he touched my little hand clutching the toy, his voice hoarse. Ava, look at Dad one more time. The brothers heard the noise, came to the door with Zoe. The monster is finally dead. She's the one who killed Mom. Mom was such a good person. How could she give birth to a thief? Listening to my brother's words, I felt a little sad. If only I could exchange my life for Mom's. But I'm already dead now. If I hadn't been born, everyone wouldn't be sad. Dad and Sophia wouldn't be so concerned either. Ava isn't a thief. And definitely not a monster. Sophia hugged me, her eyes red as she glared at the brothers. Not a thief. Where did a mental patient get the money? She stole it from Zoe. She was the only one home at the time. If she's not a thief, who is? Owen was intimidated by his father's gaze, but he still stood up stubbornly. I looked at Zoe's eyes filled with panic. Ava's money was given to her by me. She behaved very well in the hospital. It was a reward I gave her. Ava said her mom loved teddy bears the most. She wanted to save up money to buy Mom a teddy bear. As soon as Sophia finished speaking, Father trembled, silent, and just slapped each of the brothers once. Who tore this letter? None of the three brothers spoke. Dad, don't be angry, Ava tore it herself. The brothers just didn't stop her. Zoe came to Dad's side, took Dad's hand, and wanted to comfort him. Dad shook her hand away. There are surveillance cameras in the house. I'll watch them myself. The faces of the three brothers instantly panicked. Dad asked Grace to turn on the surveillance. Watching the day I was brought home, being chased out by the brothers after they threw toys, sitting at the door looking lost. He watched me smile and want to take his hand, but it was shaken off. Whenever I smiled in the surveillance, Dad couldn't help but tremble. He watched me smile and obediently follow behind her, watching me hide in the crack of the door and look at the brothers, smiling and retracting my head. I felt like a little mouse, peeking through the crack in the storeroom door, secretly observing the family's happiness. Dad watched me secretly eating leftovers, watching me take Grace's hand, wanting to cook. Little Miss wants to cook for you. She thinks you'll like her that way. Grace explained from the side. Dad was about to say something. He interrupted Grace in the surveillance. He watched himself drive me back to the storeroom, watching himself secretly eavesdrop on the conversation between them. Little Miss wants to go to school. She definitely wants to be praised by the teacher. She thinks that way everyone will praise her. Uncle James told Father what happened the day I went to school. Father's face became even more unsightly. Ava tends to laugh when she's nervous, but she's actually very smart. Sophia hugged my thin body and cried even harder. The surveillance played the scene of me giving money to Noah. 36 yuan and 50 cents is the reward I gave Ava in the mental hospital. Exactly 1 year's worth. She gave you the money she worked hard to save for a year. Why did you treat her like this? I watched Sophia look at the brothers with a look of disgust in her eyes. So even gentle Sophia had things she hated? Noah's expression suddenly became panicked. He looked at me lying in Sophia's arms. He didn't seem to have the same disgust as before. Even the other two brothers didn't laugh at me anymore. Dad watched him lock me in the storeroom. Watching him personally put the chains on in the storeroom. Dad's hands kept shaking, and the phone almost fell to the ground. He looked coldly at Zoe. Zoe hid behind the brothers this time, but the brothers didn't protect her. Sophia trembled as she watched me being locked in the storeroom. If I had known Ava's ending would be like this, even if I was fired, I would have spent the last moments of her life with Ava. Dad was silent and didn't say anything. I felt like Dad had aged several years in an instant. He watched me clean the room, but being trapped in a small room, there was no way to come out. He watched me carefully stare at the envelope at the door, not daring to move. That's the letter the madam left for Little Miss when she was pregnant. She told me to give this letter to Little Miss when she turned 5. I didn't expect. Father's body trembled as he looked at the words on the phone. It was the first time I saw Mom's handwriting. It was as beautiful as Sophia's. But I didn't recognize the words. Dear Ava, when you read this letter, you should be 5 years old. Forgive Mom's selfishness. When Mom was pregnant with Ava, because of the rainy day Mom picked up your brothers from school, she accidentally contracted a disease. Mom couldn't be with you as you grew up, but if Mom is gone, she will become a star in the sky watching you and silently guarding you. Yo-yo comes from the yo-yo deer cry in the Book of Songs. It's Mom's favorite poem. Mom hoped Ava could grow up happily, like a deer in the forest. Mom believed Dad and your brothers would take good care of you. Mom loves you. Father finished reading the letter with a trembling voice. Although I didn't know what yo-yo deer cries meant. But I knew Mom didn't hate me. I looked out the window, but there were no stars yet. Maybe when it was night, Mom would come to pick me up. Dad watched on the surveillance footage as my brothers passed around the letter, saying Mom hated me. Watching me pick up the letters that had scattered like stars. He angrily looked at my brothers. This was the first time I had seen Dad so angry. Even when I saw Dad come back injured, and I smiled at him, he wasn't this angry. Do you even have hearts? Bullying your sister like this. Dad's tone was cold, and Noah and Liam lowered their heads. Dad looked down at Zoe. And you, why did you lie and say Ava stole the money? Zoe lowered her head and explained softly. Sorry, Dad, I thought my money was lost. Ava just happened to have that much money, so I subconsciously thought she took it. Owen stood up and shielded Zoe behind him. Dad, what are you doing? Isn't it just a misunderstanding? Dad slapped Owen, sending him flying to the ground. He was trembling with anger, and tears flowed uncontrollably. Misunderstanding? Your sister's life is already gone. Owen stood up unconvincingly, glaring at Dad. Dad, what are you talking about? You're the one who sent Ava to the mental hospital. You're the one who thought she was messing around when Ava cooked for you. You're the one who locked her in the storage room. Why are you blaming us? Dad's body couldn't help but tremble. I watched Dad clench his fists tightly, then slowly release them. At this moment, Dad's phone rang. I didn't recognize the words on the phone, but Dad still said them out loud. So the reason Ava didn't cry was because Alara's old ailment caused abnormal nervous system development. So Ava was just sick. I listened to Dad's words, watching myself in Sophia's arms. So I was different from other children. Was I sick? I couldn't understand. I only knew that I was sick. But now I'm cured. Will Mom come back to pick me up? I looked out the window, hoping the sky would darken faster. Just like hoping Dad and my brothers would come to see me. In his anger, Dad sent Zoe to the orphanage. As for the brothers, he sent them all away too. It was also following behind Dad and Sophia that I learned. It turned out that the director of the mental hospital knew I wasn't sick, and only kept me in the hospital to earn Dad's money. He only sent me home when I was about to die, wanting me to see my family one last time. Dad didn't pursue the director of the mental hospital for responsibility. I breathed a sigh of relief. In my short 5 years of life, that year in the mental hospital was indeed my happiest year. There was Grandpa Director, Sophia, and Dr. Miles, who were very kind to me. No one called me a monster. Dad placed my small body in a large box. My hands were still clutching a toy car that had been thrown at me. I looked at the letter Mom wrote to me. Sophia thoughtfully put it in. My sister also bought me a small bear doll and placed it in my arms. Night fell. I watched my soul slowly ascend. Watching Dad and my brothers crying in front of my tombstone. I, who had smiled my whole life, didn't show a smile in the picture. I looked at the brightest star in the sky, knowing that Mom was coming to pick me up.